All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome to my little part of the world. I like to always light a candle when I do things where I connect with spirit or use my intention. So I'm doing that now. So I'm going to do a couple minutes for people to join and hop on. I'm on Heart Space Awakening group and on Instagram. It's been a while since I've been on Instagram. Nice to see you guys again. And I'm burning some Palo Santo, which is a beautiful healing cleansing plant. So if you're joining now, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Sometimes it works great and sometimes it doesn't. So I like to always know. And today I'm going to be talking about signs you're ready for a breakthrough, recognizing the call to heal. Beautiful. So yeah, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Beautiful, beautiful people. And I pulled a card before I hopped on, but I'm going to pull another card as well. I just like to get little messages from Spirit to see what is needed in the group now, because I like to have my own content that I plan ahead of time, but then it's always nice to get messages as we go. And if you're new here, welcome. This is the first live that you've been on. Whether you're here live or in the replay, welcome. I often do these weekly, not every single week, but I'm getting back into a rhythm of that now. Okay, I'm going to pull a card of what's needed. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull from this deck. What's needed for those who are watching live or in the replay. Oh, okay. So there's two cards. The first one is Adventure. I'll just put it up in both places. And this one is all about, you can see it's like a young child, like a little kid. And it's really about that sense of childlike wonder and play. You can see all of these colors radiating from this, it's like a little girl here, but a child. And the sense of childlike wonder and play is something that as we get older and become adults, we can become disconnected from, sadly. She shared a post about this the other day where I went through this from my 20s to my 30s, and where, it was all about play and socializing and fun and adventure and figuring out, who I'm going to be. Maybe you guys can relate. And then there's this like, no, I need to get serious and figure stuff out. And there's definitely benefit to that, but it doesn't need to be at the cost of our playful inner child. And so that's the part of us that I feel we're being called to reconnect with at this time, especially in a time when, there can be heavy events happening around the world. A lot of pressure, a lot of emotions running high. And these are great times to lighten, to come back to that inner sense of lightness and pull back from the seriousness so that we can find that childlike sense of play and adventure and wonder. Because when you have that, and this is the gift that comedians have, when you can lighten things, when you can laugh, we can look through things that could otherwise be very heavy and dense, but in a way that it doesn't burden us, in a way that we can stay light. And so adventure is like this sense of curiosity and exploration, where it doesn't have a determined outcome. And like, wow, what a concept. That can be really triggering for the ego that wants to like control things and know and stay safe and have know how it's all going to happen before it happens, but it doesn't work that way. We don't know how it's all going to unfold. We have to kind of step forward in faith, and that's what adventure is all about. The other card I pulled is guidance. And that's a lot of the work that I do. I, of course, am a guide, but I'm also guided. So I work with my guides, and they influence a lot of the work that I do. And I actually was just saying to my husband earlier, my guides kind of do most of the work. I'm just here to relay things and to share and support. So yeah, those are the two cards that wanted to come through today. And I am going to be talking about, let me just bring up my notes here. The signs that you're ready for breakthrough and recognizing when you're getting the call to heal. So how do you know when you're being called forward into this? How do you know when you're on the cusp of what could be a breakthrough? And so it often doesn't show up in a way that feels like, oh, this is great, I'm about to have a breakthrough. It doesn't feel like that, okay? It often feels like contraction. It can feel like triggers coming to the surface. It can feel like being completely done and fed up with something. Like, that's it, I've hit my limit. No more. The power of hitting your limit is that there's often a point at this stage where people will take a stand and say, okay, you know what, that enough is enough. I'm going to do whatever it takes to change what's going on that I don't like. And of course, that's never, it's not never, but of course, that change is always going to begin from within you to make the decision to shift something that's no longer serving you. And by extension, the world around you is going to change to fit that, okay? Ah, beautiful. And if you guys are joining on, let me know where you're joining me from. I always like to say hi and connect. Hopefully the chat feature is working. It doesn't always in the Facebook group, but if I get your messages, I will respond. Okay. So I want to help you identify today the subtle and the not so subtle signals that might be telling you it's time for a shift. So together we'll look at why these signs show up, what they mean, and how you can gain the clarity, support to find the breakthrough that you're really deserving, that you're really meant to have. Because when it feels like you're about to have a breakthrough, it actually can feel like a crisis, big or little. And the Chinese characters for crisis are both danger and opportunity. And so the danger is if we don't shift our consciousness around it and we get caught up in this painful pattern or story or symptom in our body, in our relationships, in our finances, in our work, in our life. So the danger is staying stuck and going deeper into the problem. The opportunity is for the discomfort of whatever is triggering you, be that pain, be that feeling stuck, frustrated, like there's something more, the discomfort of that to push you into a new way of thinking, into a new way of doing things, into seeking support to shift how you are being that in the way that it has caused this. Like, let me say that better. To get support into shifting the root cause of what's going on here, okay? And it's never what it looks like on the surface. So if you're having physical pain, it's not that your body is broken. It's not that there's like nerves that are not firing properly. It's that there is some kind of pain, be that emotional, spiritual, an energy that's become stuck in the body, and that is causing physical pain because it needs to get out. So your body's giving you this feedback like, hey, there's something here we need to look at. But if you don't understand the language of how to communicate with your subconscious mind and your body, the danger is in trying to treat it in all these other ways and doing surgery and this and that, but that still doesn't fix the problem because we didn't deal with the actual root, which is in the subconscious mind, in the energetic field, in the emotions and the feelings, and whatever has caused this to really show up. So the pain, the symptom, is just the fruit. We want to get to the root of what's going on. Let me know if that is making sense for you guys. Drop in the chat. And hi, Tracy. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining, my friend. How are you doing? Okay. So, crisis, danger, opportunity. Danger is the trigger and the risk of falling deeper into it. Opportunity is having the discomfort of the trigger motivate you into showing up differently, getting support, addressing the problem differently. And I've said the quote from Einstein a bunch of times that you can't solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it. But the mind really tries to do that. It's like, no, I'm just going to keep on thinking in this loop for longer. Maybe that will eventually fix it. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. But it doesn't work that way. So we have to like step outside of it and find a new perspective and understand what's really going on so that we can shift it. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna go unpack a little bit more symptoms of when you're feeling when something is calling you to break through what's going on. Okay, because if there's something that's not in alignment with you, and that could be a belief, not feeling worthy. It could be a relationship, and when you give all of yourself without honoring your own needs. It could be an avoidance of sharing your healing gifts, your intuitive gifts. It could be hiding. So if you have this pattern that is going on, the longer it goes on, the more uncomfortable it gets. Okay? And so the more uncomfortable it gets, the bigger the sign that you're needing to break through that. And so it can feel like feeling stuck. Like, I don't really know what to do. I don't really know what I want. I don't really know where to go. I'm just feeling like I'm not moving forward. Okay? This can mean because every one of us has a significant purpose and mission to share in this world, even if it's just to have a lot of fun and enjoy every single moment you can, that's a great sense of purpose, okay? But if you're not feeling that, if you're not connected to that sense of aliveness and purpose, that feeling of stuckness is an indication there's something blocking you from your innate ability to feel connected, alive, in purpose and flow, okay? Because that's part of who you are. So we all have that ability. Hey, Abdul. All right, beautiful. Okay, another symptom of needing a breakthrough can be emotional overwhelm or anxiety or depression. So these again are symptoms. So just like physical pain is a symptom, emotional pain, these mental health symptoms are the fruit. They are saying there's something here that needs to be looked at. We don't feel good, but they're not the root of the problem. The root, anxiety and depression, is never going to be the core of the problem. It is always going to be the symptom, okay? So there's something underneath that's not in alignment. And that could be, for example, a belief of not feeling good enough or not feeling worthy, not feeling safe to be yourself. And how that shows up in your life is not expressing who you truly are, not connecting with and being honest with who you truly are, what you really want, and instead living for what is expected of you in a way to try to please others. It can make you depressed AF because you're not being true to yourself. So it's not going to feel good living a life that doesn't feel like it's yours. You're not going to feel like you belong in it because you're not really in it. Okay? Well, drop in the chat if this is resonating with you, if you've ever been there. I've been there for sure. Like trying to figure out who I am and feeling disconnected with that sense of self, that sense of belonging. And I really struggled to feel authentic connection with others. I was always craving more connection. And that's because I wasn't connected with myself. Okay? In order to really connect with others, it's through the heart. And if you're not in your authenticity, you're not in your heart. You're up here in the head and you're hanging out in the personality and the ego, playing a role playing someone who's not actually you. Okay? It's not going to be fulfilling. It's not going to be full of authentic, beautiful, meaningful connection. It's not going to be full of purpose. That happens when you have the courage to shift and heal and release the pieces that cause you to not feel safe to be your true self, so that you can come back into remembering and embodying who you actually are. All right, beautiful. Hey, Renee, welcome. How is it going? Amen, Tracy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If we could all be our authentic selves, like, wouldn't that be a beautiful world? If we didn't feel like we had to prove anything or be someone for someone else and just be who we really are in our hearts authentically, not the wounded versions of ourselves, but who we really are in our hearts. That would be an amazing, beautiful world to live in. And I really believe in creating that world by starting within each of us. So we all have so much influence that we can create in the world, but it begins by coming into your own truth, your own power. And power, by the way, is not power over others. Power is being empowered. being in your sense of self and authenticity and sovereignty in your own mind, heart, body, spirit. Okay. So another symptom of needing a breakthrough is energy depletion and fatigue. So I've definitely been through this. I've dealt with chronic illness and come out the other side of it. Thank goodness. It was a lot of work. But feeling tired all the time can absolutely be these blocks that show up. And these blocks, by the way, they're blind spots. We're not aware of them because they are by their very nature unconscious. They're unconscious programs and personas that we formed very early on in life that have been operating unconsciously, not consciously. We're not aware of what's happening. We just feel tired or overwhelmed or stuck or depressed or anxious. This is a symptom that there's some sort of blind spot that's causing us to not be in alignment with our truth, our authenticity, our vitality, our well-being, our purpose, sharing our gifts. So when you feel drained and fatigued, there could be a lot of energy drains in your life. And an energy drain, for example, could be not being in alignment with your truth. So if you have a subconscious belief that says, no one's going to want what I have to offer, then it causes you to hide and not pursue what you really, really want to do in your life. Maybe that's being a healer, for example. If you don't share those gifts, then that energy that's meant to flow through you and help others to heal is getting stuck in your body. So that can be causing pain, discomfort, anxiety. And if you are holding back and doing work that you don't like instead and having all these negative thoughts about it while you're at work, that's going to drain your energy really quickly. Okay, you're going to feel really depleted. A big part of that is mindset. Is okay, maybe I'm in a work situation I don't love. What can I be grateful for? What is it giving me that can help me then shift into where I'm meant to be? It's going to start with that shift in mindset, that shift in gratitude. Because whatever you think and feel, you create more of. More of that is attracted to you. So if you think and feel gratitude, you're going to get a lot more things to be grateful for versus if you think and feel being stuck and trapped and miserable, you're going to get more of that. So which one do you want? All right. And then another symptom of being in need of a breakthrough is feeling like there's something more, like there's this persistent feeling of there's just something that you just feel like it's out there, but you can't quite grasp it and you can't quite see what it is. You don't quite know what it is. And I had this feeling a lot when I was younger, before I dove into the world of plant medicines with ayahuasca and studying in shamanic Chinese medicine and becoming a healer and doing all of these cool things. But I had this feeling a lot like I feel like there's something more. And there absolutely was, and there absolutely is for you. If you have that feeling, it's because there's more for you. And so if you feel like you've been settling, like this is enough, it's okay. I would explore what are the beliefs that are causing me to feel like, okay, I'll just stay here. Is it out of a place of being genuinely content and fulfilled, or is that out of a place of feeling limited, like you're not able to, capable of, deserving of, allowed to have more? Because if it's the latter, those are all limiting beliefs and you can shift those. Okay. So let me know if this is resonating with you guys. If you are having any questions coming up around this, I always love to hear your perspectives on it. In what ways, have you been getting symptoms to let you know that it's time to break through something? It's time to shift an old pattern or way of being. What would that be for you? You can drop it in the chat or you can send me a DM if you like. That's all good too. And so the first step in shifting this is awareness, because we can't shift what we're not aware of. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of this stuff is blind spots. It's hanging out in our subconscious minds and we can't see it because we're in it. You can't start to see the forest for the trees when it's happening, when it's a program that you're unconsciously operating from. And it's this wild thing that we become hypnotized into having certain belief systems and ways of acting and being that isn't necessarily aligned with our true nature. So, oh, my volume just went down. Okay, as long as you guys can hear me. My computer does this weird thing sometimes where it goes all the way to mute and then I have to restart it. But let me know if you can still hear me okay, because that's what matters. Anyway, yeah, I would love to know if you guys can still hear and see me okay in the Facebook group. I think in Instagram land, you guys will hear me just fine. All right, so that's so funny. So funny feeling muted. It's like, wait, no, I'm still talking. I'm not done. But this is actually my computer muting itself. It has these little quirks. It's only 3 years old, but it has all these little quirks. I actually love technology. So we can hypnotize ourselves with our thoughts and with our words. And maybe like drop a yes in the chat if you've ever done this, if you've ever said, I always forget to do this, or I always do that, this thing that I don't like. When everything that you say is being listened to, oh, thanks Tracy for letting me know you can hear me. Everything that you say, your subconscious is listening to it and is accepting it as fact. So every time you say, I always forget to turn off the light before I go to bed, you're never going to remember to turn that light off because you're sending a command to your subconscious, I always forget this. That's an example of these like little hypnotic audio programs that we give to ourselves that circulate on loop. And so when it happens with things like turning off the lights, it can also happen with things like, I'm never able to do this. I'm never good enough. I'm never going to be enough. It's not safe to do this. I don't know. I'm too scared. I'm not strong enough. These are all these little commands we're sending back to ourselves. So it comes from this feeling that we picked up from childhood or in a previous lifetime or through our ancestry and our DNA or through society. We picked it up. And that feeling comes up and turns into a thought that says, oh, I'm not able to do this. And then we say that, or we think it in our head, and it sends a command into our subconscious that repeats, got it, more of I'm not able to do this. So these are all these little hypnotic spells that we place on ourselves, that we perpetuate unconsciously, not knowingly. And so much love in this, because when we're hypnotized, we're not aware of everything that's going on, okay? We're not aware of the trance necessarily, okay? So this is the blind spot, and this is where it takes having someone from outside of you, outside of the programs that are running in your mind, to say, hey, did you know that you're saying this? Did you know that there's this program going on? Is that serving you? Do you want to keep it? Maybe it's time to let it go. Who would you be without it? What would be available to you without it? And so this is really where the power of having a mentor or a guide, someone outside of you, to really help you shift these things is incredibly powerful. And I've done a lot of work with plant medicines. They are amazing. Ayahuasca has been said it's like 10 years of therapy in one session. For me, it was that and so much more. But there's also people, when I was facilitating at the Ayahuasca Center, I stayed at for 2 months as a facilitator and a photographer. And there's some people who I would see, they just like would fight it. And they'd say, nope, I'm not going to surrender. I'm never surrendering. And so this is where if we can have a medicine that's within us, like working with a plant medicine, but it is still stuck, can still be limited by our own mindset, our own consciousness, because it's happening inside of us. So that can be very powerful, but can also be a limitation. So having someone outside of you instead of or as well to say, hey, let's look at this, can be incredibly powerful. It has been for me. So for me, I've worked with lots of healers and coaches of all kinds throughout my life. One of them was when I had been persecuted as a witch in a previous lifetime. I didn't know what it was, of course. I was just getting energy work, and there were people working on me and said, there's all this heat coming up. We don't know what's going on. And so I worked with these healers, and I said, hey, can you help me with this? And we went back to a lifetime of where this began, having been burned as a witch. Not fun, don't recommend it. But a lot of people who are intuitives and empaths in this lifetime have been healers for many lifetimes and have experienced some form of persecution in the past. So there's this strong feeling, or there can be, of it's not feeling safe to of share who you are authentically, or share your gifts, or like remember and embody your gifts because it wasn't safe previously. So working with these healers helped me to forgive and release the situation. And then in other sessions with different healers, I was able to release the actual energy of the pain that had been held in my body, of like the pain of having gone through that experience was quite intense. So releasing that. But there was such beautiful and intentional and skillfully done work that it would have been so much longer and harder to shift all that myself, and it very unlikely would have all been done in this lifetime. Okay. Okay. Just taking my notes. Beautiful. Okay, so let me know if this is resonating with you guys. If you have any questions with any of this, I always love to hear it. And I love to hear, what is something that you are ready to break through? Like, what is a pattern in your life that you're ready to break through, and why? What might be on the other side of it? So a lot of shifting and transforming, it involves two things. One is letting go of what's no longer serving us, and two is embodying who we are on the other side of that. So if you had this subconscious belief from the program running in the background saying it's not safe to be myself, who am I on the other side of that? Free to be myself, worthy, whole, enough as I am, regardless of what is going on externally, of what the outside world says. When you can really embody that and believe that, then that is an incredibly powerful thing. Then you don't need to prove or hide, do anything that isn't aligned with your authentic truth. And that's an incredible inspiration for people to be around someone like that. Okay? That is power. Not power over others, power within your own being. It is self-honesty, it is integrity. That is really a transformative thing. Hey, Z. Welcome. Good to see you on here. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. And then I would just also watch for other blind spots that can show up. So sometimes I'll work with people where they're like, yeah, I need to move forward. I need to do this, this, and this. And then we're chatting, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I can't because of this, this, and this. And so there can be this desire to want to shift, grow, heal, and embody like who you truly are and what you're actually capable of. But then the ego can catch up to you and say, no. Let's stay the same and what's safe and familiar and what we knew before, because change is scary and it could be dangerous because we don't know what's going to happen. And this is, again, the adventure card that I pulled. Adventure, by its very nature, involves uncertainty because we don't know what's going to happen. That's why it's an adventure. So life is an adventure. You don't know every single step that's going to happen unless you try to control everything and have a really unadventurous life. And even then, change is going to happen to you regardless, because change is a law of nature. So it's about learning how to ride the wave with an adventurous spirit. Then it gets a lot more fun. Beautiful. And then so watch for the ego, which is the sense of misperceptions and beliefs about yourself, life, and others that are formed in childhood, previous lifetimes, and through ancestry. This is the part of your mind that tries to keep you the same and small. This is the part of the mind that can cause you to feel stuck. So it can show up as all of these reasons why you shouldn't do the thing that you really, really want. All of these reasons why you should excuse yourself. Maybe there's not enough time, money to do the inner work right now. Maybe the timing is wrong because you need to do this, this, and this, and then maybe some of that before you do the inner work. These are all the ways the mind tries to excuse itself from the discomfort of change. That's why it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. There's a really beautiful line that I heard. It's when the calling is stronger than the fear. And that's really what it is. It's about, there's going to be fear, always. It's an adventure. We don't know what's going to happen. That's natural to feel fear, because the part of the mind that wants to stay safe is getting activated. But then there's this other part where the calling, where the desire, I'll hold this card up again, if you can feel the energy of it, where that all this light coming through, where there's a sense of curiosity and discovery and wonder. I want to know what happens next. That's the calling. And when that becomes bigger than the fear, that's when you move forward. And that's where things really transform and change in a powerful way. Okay? So it's really about which part of me am I going to listen to? I'm going to listen to the calling, or I'm going to let the fear hold me back. And it's a choice we're all free to make. We all have free will. So the choice is yours. And then, of course, I am a guide. So if anyone is wanting support, I work with people one-on-one. We have a membership, and then we also have Medicine Within Academy, where I teach people how to heal themselves and others and connect with their intuitive gifts using the Medicine Within method, channeling, mediumship, energy work, all kinds of beautiful things. So if you are feeling called, I would just listen to that internal voice within you and close your eyes and fill up with light right now. Or whenever you are ready to ask this question. This is a great way of deciding something. It's just filling up with light and being really making the intention to be very honest with yourself and deciding, is it time to receive support to break through this? Is it time to receive support to become who I truly am, to remember who that is and embody that and share it with the world? And if the answer is yes, then I would drop yes in the chat or send me a DM, and I would be happy to connect with you. We could talk about different ways that I can support you. And yeah, I would also love to hear, what were your biggest takeaways from this? I always love hearing that. And that's for me and you, because when you share that, it really helps your mind to decide, what is my takeaway from this? And then ground that. And then that helps to integrate and move forward in your life. So I always love hearing that too. So feel free to drop that in the chat as well. All good, Z. Thank you for joining us in the car. Keep your eyes open. No eyes closed meditations in the car while you're driving. All right. Thank you for joining me, you guys. It's beautiful to connect, and sending you my love. Z, I think there is a lot of inner turmoil that goes with the process. Yeah, there absolutely can be a lot of inner turmoil around change. I find that turmoil is the biggest when I'm just kind of hanging out and stuck in the pattern and not moving forward. And that can be someone's whole life is having the same problem. That kind of is outside of space and time. It is until we change it. And I found that working with healers and coaches and guides to support me in shifting that, it can shift in an instant. It may have been there my whole life or lifetimes, but it can shift in an instant. And so that's really where the transformation happens, where it's my teacher had called it a spiritual intervention, where those patterns they can rapidly change with the right understanding and perspective and shifting. All right, great to see you, Tracy. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Z. Thanks everyone for joining. Sending you all my love, and I will talk with you next time. Bye-bye.